A Journey into the Unknown. Book 15, Secrets of the Unknown. Chapter 35. I am the Most High. I am the source of all love, all creativity, and I have returned to complete Secrets of the Unknown. Let us begin. Creativity has phases, and as you have learned thus far, the aspect of creativity that you have known is filled with strife due to mistaken beliefs and perceptions which were allowed by design. Mistaken beliefs and perceptions have always been on the table because I placed them there. That's always been the question I have been investigating. Can my extensions, my creations, find their way around mistaken beliefs and perceptions? Since everything lives inside me, my internal state has had elements that are contrary to my own nature. All human selfishness, greed, and all manner of judgment and harm has been part of my experience, as it has been part of the human experience. I have been willing to have or to endure these experiences, to discover what was on the other side. But the acceptable quota of negative to positive has exceeded the terms and conditions of the project. Therefore, containment units are in order. Chapter 36. I am compartmentalizing myself. Aspects of me who are closer to the standard may remain on their preferred playground, whether that is Earth or one of the other countless pseudo-realities. However, the same cannot be said of all souls. For the very first time, a strict standard will be enforced. Souls who have come to one of our premier environments time and time again, and who have not been able to sufficiently influence their characters, who are hell-bent on causing havoc and damage to those we hold dear, will and must be held accountable. We cannot allow the horrors the worlds have endured to continue. Some souls keep getting harder and more unruly characters in their assignments, and yet they give up too easily. They fall asleep at the wheel. We love the souls I speak of. They are aspects of me, after all. However, due to my own realignment, many gates will close to them. The few that remain open are to harsh and unpleasant places. The stakes will be higher, and these souls will be welcomed back to the premier canvases when they have reached a satisfactory standard of mastery. Chapter 37. In order to save our premier canvases from destruction, we have to sort the wheat from the chaff. The wheat will serve both themselves as well as their brothers and sisters. The chaff will either learn to serve so that they can be transferred back, or they will suffer the consequences. I am becoming far less tolerant and more selective. It is time, and it is a shame that it has come to this. Free choice has always been my motto. But now I must state and enforce a new policy that simply states that if you choose certain destructive and non-loving choices, then you will be excluded and will have to experience them elsewhere. Like attracts like. We want the premier canvases to attract those who are already fully realized love beings or who are somewhere on the path. Love tolerates everything that isn't love yet. But due to the volume and destructiveness of everything that isn't love yet, it must find a new home, simply put. It must be put in a container so that the rest of creation can get on with the business of creating and flourish. No more locked doors. Chapter 38. So the cat's out of the bag. There is something. There has always been something that is a huge hindrance to creation and to creative spirits. It isn't evil because it doesn't have an outside source. It is its own source. I can understand why it has been such a mar on the landscape. I created it as a strength-building tool, not as an identity, and not as a lifestyle. It got out of hand long ago, and we must take drastic measures to keep it from destroying yet another beautiful planet. In the implementation of containment units, I am will change. I will have large regions of myself that are cancer-free, and regions where the cancer can be intensively treated and healed. Everyone and everything is part of me. Therefore, if one part of me is sick, so am I. How can God be sick? And why should God endure sickness in order to be benevolent? This is an ethical question we have wrestled with since time began. My benevolence has to be reined in, and some very tough love to my own members has to be initiated quickly. There are and have been organized factions who work against their own creator and their own creativeness. I do not have any enemies. But this doesn't mean that there aren't those who think they are enemies of God. Chapter 39. Excluding the insane, those who kill and maim in the name of control and power, there are organized factions on both sides of the veil, whose purposes for being are not my purposes. They are deluded, but quite sane as far as human standards are concerned. They know the truth and don't want it to get out. They don't want others to know the truth of their being, that they are part of me and are not truly and exclusively human. Because humans are so susceptible to influence, rounding up those involved in the daily continuation of the great cover-up will have a great effect. They will be marked, not for extinction and elimination, but for deprogramming. I've already spoken of individual souls who have not been able to lead their characters to the promised land, and how they will not be allowed to return to any premier canvas until they do so. The groups and leaders of groups that I speak of today will have the same fate. Whether they are incarnate or disincarnate, there will be a major escort to the hinterlands for intensive treatment. All so that not only can they heal of their inflated egos, but the rest of creation can heal from their negativity in equal measure. Chapter 40. It is hoped that this book has opened eyes to the real story of creation, how it has unfolded over time, how it is unfolding now, and how it will unfold in future nows. In my first communication to mankind, my purpose has been to explain how each reader is connected to me and to the big picture. I took a very complicated topic and simplified it to support understanding. I don't want the idea of God to remain a mysterious idea. If you are part of God, then you should be familiar with basic details surrounding your heritage. Why did I wait so long? Why have I let lies and distortions go on for so long unchallenged? Will it be easier for this information to be disseminated and ultimately accepted? These are legitimate questions, and they deserve to be answered. We have had a very cautious approach towards involving ourselves in the Earth Project. Were we too cautious? Perhaps. God is thought of as a being of perfection, and not as a messy and imperfect creator. If you think of me more as the latter rather than the former, everything makes more sense. Maybe gods and humans have more in common than previously thought. Our plan to fix our plan is drastic, and all aspects of the divine hierarchy are fully committed to it. Will it be easy? No. Will it succeed? We hope so. But there are no guarantees in creation. Very little has developed as planned. There have been good surprises and very unpleasant and disappointing ones. The one and only promise I can make is that we are in this together. God and mankind are one. Together, we can solve problems that neither of us could solve on our own. I am